Hello, and today we will be playing a game called Before You Depart. This is a one-off VN. It deals with death as well as mental illness. One of the main questions people around the world have is, what happens when you die? Is there something else after death, or is there just nothing? Nothing happens if we just go into oblivion. All that will be discussed in this VN. And it does get pretty heavy at times. I certainly got a little emotional myself when I played this. But it's a very good VN. And I enjoyed it very much. I'm sure you all will too. It's 3:05 a.m. during the dark of a drizzly morning. I finally succumbed to leukemia. For years, by the end I wish I had only lasted one. I traced the finger over the corpse's cheek. Nothing. No sensation in my fingertips, nor depression in the flesh. There's only total numbness. I stood feeling complete weightlessness. My feet felt no pressure against the floor. Along with my touch, my sense of smell was also absent. The air should have been thoroughly drenched with the stinging odor of formaldehyde and embalming fluid, yet it was no more pungent than a glass of water. A mortician reached through my non-corporeal figure and dotted the body with several small metal discs. There was no one around when I had finally passed. No one mourned me. No one wept. I wanted to know I meant something, that a part of the world was taken away. The mortician coughed and sprayed the air with a tinge of deodorant before he prepared the corpse for the flames. That body. God, it doesn't even look like me. The milky skin, dilated eyes, and a slack jaw barely covering the teeth. It's a limp hunk of meat that'll soon be ash. A tear dropped from my cheek and vanished into the floor. What am I even doing here? Is this some dying dream? Didn't I already kick the bucket? Or is this limbo? I guess it's better than the alternative down there. Then again, spending an eternity watching the world go by as I remain some kind of apparition sounds like an idea straight from Lucifer himself. Well, what else can I do? What am I supposed to do? I see the mortician prepare my casket for cremation. Seems like they'll be burning it all up soon. As disturbing as it is, part of me wants to see. Maybe I can phase into the oven and get a good look at the incineration of the body that once belonged to me. Maybe it's for the best. I'm dead. I turned away and walked towards the door. Instinctively, I reached for the handle only for it to phase through my fingers. Still a dumbass in death. I walked through the door, across the hall, and through the wall, into the morning drizzle. Not a bad day to die, I guess. Weather's appropriate. I looked up to the gorgeous gray sky, and I could almost feel the faint dabble and water on my face. During mornings like these, I would curl up with a cup of coffee and simply stare out into the endless white fog. I gazed at nothing in particular, just enjoying the brightness of the sky's canvas. I wandered outside the mortuary until I reached the garden. The spring rains had brought dazzling flower blossoms that adorned the edges of the pathways. They all lead to a tall fountain at the center. I approached the fountain and laid at its base. The pattering water provided a nice soothing ambience. If this truly isn't some dying dream, nothing seems to be stopping me from going anywhere I like. I wonder if they just forgot about me. Am I just a lone soul consigned to wander around forever? Might actually be fun for a century or so. I dipped a foot into the fountain and expected no ripple or chills. I couldn't rightly tell if it was actually submerged at first. Is this how I'm spending my afterlife? Playing around at a fountain outside some backwater mortuary? Do you enjoy the water too? Huh? A voice, is someone there? I turned around and scanned my surroundings, but I didn't see anyone. Up here, sir. Wait, what? What the fuck? I collapsed facing partially into the ground. But where are you? Oh, I'm so sorry, Maury. I didn't mean to startle you. Let me hop down. That thing threw itself off the statue into the water. No splash. No, this has to be some sort of nightmare. Stay back. Just let me down, okay? Oh, you already did that, though. A few hours ago, actually, you finally passed away. So don't worry, you're dead now. I can assure you. But what the fuck are you talking about? The creature sighed and dragged a claw across its fur. He had saggy, pitch-black fur. It wavered delicately as if exposed to a soft breeze. Ghostly petals tampered from his leaves and tail, swirling around in the air for a moment before fading into oblivion. This demon knelt down in the whirlpool. He stared at me intensely with those hellish red eyes. I'm sorry, perhaps I should let you calm down first. You want me to calm down? I have no idea what's even going on. Well, as I mentioned before, you're dead. However, you haven't been taken beyond yet. You're in the in-between, as I call it. Taken beyond? Yes, where all souls go. Oh, how rude of me. I should have introduced myself. I am Memento, your weeper and guide into the after. It extended one of its paws towards me. I stared blankly for an uncomfortable beat before the wolf creature retracted its arm. I'm sorry. Was that inappropriate? I do apologize, Maury. I hope I did not offend you in any manner. You know my name? Of course. It would be rude not to. My nerves cooled a touch. If this thing meant to harm me, assuming that's even possible, it would have done so now. It spoke in a hushed tone, almost reserved. It was like the whispers of the wind. Memento, yes? Yes, sir. Is there something you require? Can we roll back a bit? Because I have a lot of questions. Of course, ask away. So you weep my soul. You took it out of my body? Well, no, actually. What? I mean, that is my job. My handiwork is quite excellent. You will find no other weeper with a more refined skill, I assure you. However, I did not take your soul myself. Usually, I'm supposed to, but this time, I just let the spirit leave the cell naturally. So, now you see me. What? Why? He's a weeper. My weeper. Why didn't he take my soul? What the hell is this guy on about? God, if this is if God, this is a dying dream, please just let me croak already. Why would you do that? I died hours ago, and now you show up. Do you know what's it like gogging at your own corpse? I meant nothing by it. I assure you, sir. I simply, he limped away and scratched the back of his ghostly scruff. I wanted to ask you something. Huh? Me? You want to ask me something? He nodded. What could I possibly tell you that you wouldn't already know? You're some kind of Grim Reaper spirit or whatever. What could I possibly do for you? Memento nibbled on his finger and looked anxiously to the side. Wanted to know what it's like. Know what it's like. What it's like to live. I've taken humans from all over this world to the final west. The elderly, children, mothers, fathers, even newborns, I got all of them to the end. So why did you make me wait so long? Well, I just wanted to make sure you had time to process it all. I didn't want to jump in and bombard you with my inquiries just after you had died. But why specifically me? Memento tilted his head, seemingly pondering the question. I've done this for so long. My time with each human is short, perhaps a few minutes at most, but I always learn the most fascinating things. My mother once begged me to not take her from her family. She wept, cried, and cursed me. However, there was another time an elderly man embraced me with open arms. He thanked me for my arrival and walked with me peacefully. I am met with hatred, terror, disgust. Death must be so terrible, yes? The end of your waking life, the end of everything. Yet I met those who look back fondly at their life, those who seem content to leave, those who are happy. And it's those happy ones that make me wonder why. I still don't understand. There are people dying all over the globe at this very moment. Great scientists, people with families, war heroes. I mean, I'm just a 30-something screw-up who died young and alone. I'm no one. I lived my life as no one, and I'll be forgotten. It's all the same in the end. Everyone's forgotten eventually. Anyways, I just thought it was the right time to pose my question. The right time? I guess I could have asked the last one, or the one before. But I decided, Memento, you're going to ask the next one, and so I did. It was quite difficult too. I had to plan my inquiry properly. So you spent the last few hours just thinking of how you were going to ask me? When you put it like that, it does sound quite cowardly, I must admit, but I wanted to make sure you were comfortable first before I dropped this question on you. And seeing your reaction, perhaps it wasn't executed most perfectly. So you're asking me just on a whim out of the millions of people I just so happen to be the one? That's about the extent of it, yes. What if I decline? Memento frowned and looked away. Well, then I will simply take you beyond, like the rest. Beyond? What is there beyond? There's nothing to be afraid of. Memento's ears twitched. It's very peaceful. Peaceful. Yes, eternal bliss. Some may ask, and it's where everyone goes. I nearly fell to my knees then and there. Eternal happiness, I would get to live in pure bliss for the rest of eternity. The thought was almost too overwhelming. What would it be like? Who would I get to see? The visages of important historical figures, great film stars, and genius academics raced through my mind. I get to go there to enjoy paradise forever? No kidding. You're not kidding me, are you? What do you think? Huh. Yes. Oh, yes. God, thank you. Or whoever's in charge here. Joyous tears welled in my eyes. I didn't even bother to wipe them away. After everything I experienced, something amazing finally happens, and it's the greatest thing imaginable. I turned to Memento, bearing a beaming smile. I could at least try to help him considering the good news he just delivered. So, you just, you want to know the meaning of life? I mean, I don't think I could tell you. I wouldn't know where to start. There are people who have dedicated their entire lives to that question. Philosophers who, oh yes, I've met one, Mr. Hegel. Oh, he was quite an interesting fellow, I must say. He did not take his weeping quite well, I must admit. He talked in droves. It must have been an hour before I could convince him to just go away. Interesting man, saying I cannot speak to him again. So if I tell you what you want to know, then what do I get? Do I get the return? His ears flicked to the side, and he caught a brow peculiarly. My apologies, but no. You are deceased, Maury. There is no returning. So, what if I won? Memento stopped for a moment and stared directly at me. His red eyes widened into blood red moons. He could run to the ends of his red eyes widened into blood red moons. You could run to the ends of this universe, but I would still be there to take you away. There is no being that can escape me. None ever have, and certainly none ever will. He explained flatly. It's simply how it is. For once his gentle demeanor peeled back and gave way to something otherworldly. His voice chilled my bones to their marrow. I swallowed a heap of lead and proceeded. Do not mistake me, Maury. It would be unpleasant. A moment had passed and the chill vanished. It was replaced by a slight, warm smile. However, I will offer you extended time to make peace with things. It is morning now. I must take you beyond by sunset. You have all day to show me. Perhaps you can make peace with your departure. Many would give anything to have one final moment with the ones they loved, to actually say farewell to men and bridge that has long been burned. So I'll get to make peace with everything if I tell you what it means to be, well, me? Yes, that's the extent of it. I looked to the overcast sky, a cloud parted, giving way to a sunbeam. Me? I'm the one who gets to find closer. Not the mother Memento tore away from her family, not a young lover who never got to see their significant other again, just me, the man who has nothing. What is there even to close? I turned to face Memento. He sifted around in anticipation, biting his lower lip with a nice sharp fang. Closer, huh? Well, what's a few hours compared to eternity? Fine then, I'll help you. A snaggletooth grin spread across his face. Oh, most excellent. You have my eternal gratitude. He reached out a paw, offering to pull me up out of the fountain's pool. Need a paw, my friend? I grabbed Memento's paw. For once, there was something tangibly there. Yeah, it was almost uncanny. He hoisted me up, and I could feel the strength of his forearm, the brush of his fur, and the coolness of his palm. Memento held my hand for a few seconds, staring intently. Oh, my apologies. You humans are just so. You humans are just always so warm. The sun sliced through the heavy overcast, and the city was coming to life with activity. Children prepared for school, and adults began commuting to their 9 to 5. Everything was so normal. Life continued unabated. So then, where should we go? I don't know. You don't know? Well, not sure. I wanted to see what kind of joys you could explain to me. Joys? Yes, joys. The things that make humans smile. The things that they look back on fondly. They always speak of things like family, loved ones, or material items that gave them great joy. Humans do not. Humans did not have these joys. Then what reason would they have to be so distraught by my arrival? Joy must be the key, yes? I guess. And since everything we do is in service of maximizing our happiness, be it money, a loved one, or material items as you described. So me. So you. Yes, some me joy. You had joy, did you not? Damn, been a long while since I've thought about that. When was I last happy? I skirted around the fountain and sat on the side facing the city. Memento hopped up beside me, legs crossed and arms leaning on his knees. He stared at me curiously, like a child expecting an answer. When was I last happy? Obviously not any time within these past few years, but even before then. Before I pushed everyone away, I delved deep, reaching into the past. Moonlit Waltz. It was a play I was in, God, way back when. It was about a star who fell in love with a man on Earth. It was all about their differences, their growing connection, and all that. But the star had to return home since she was a star. She had no choice. But before she left, she and the man danced in the starlight one final time. Oh. He was fully invested now, ears perked and eyes wide. If they weren't so bloodshot, I dare say he looked like a puppy of sorts. And that's what you remember, yes? So sorry. But I can't really show you. It happened a long time ago. Oh, right, that is true. Memento sprung up from the fountain's lodge. In that case, when did this play happen? I'm not sure. I was big into theater during college, like 10 years ago, maybe, so around that time. 10 years, got it. What do you do? Before I could finish that thought, Memento snapped his fingers and the entire city swirled into a vortex. What the hell are you doing? Going back, seeing your memory, and all that. Here we go. This must be it. Last night, I met a star. She was the most beautiful star you've ever seen. Who are you? Your hair, your body. You came from the sky? Yes, I traveled so very far to arrive here. Through endless space and past innumerable planets. Many you never would have imagined. Innumerable. Here we go. This must be it. Last night I met a star. She was the most beautiful star you've ever seen. Who are you? Your hair, your body. You came from the sky? Yes, I traveled so very far to arrive here, through endless space and past innumerable planets, many you never would have imagined existed. And on your journey, I have arrived here in this meadow with you. I don't believe it. This must be a dream. This is Blanker's Community Theater, just as I remember. I stood at the very back of the bleachers watching the actors from above. You, what's your name? Oh, my fucking lord. Is that what I sounded like? Whoa. I turned to face Memento, who was sitting half face into an elderly woman. You gonna get up? Oh, I didn't even notice. Apologies, ma'am. This is your theater? His eyes were alight with awe at the half-assed set and poor lighting. It's a little derelict. I think they were renovating while the show was in production. I see. Memento walked through a couple of seats towards the stage. Come on, I want to get a closer look. What? Nothing I could do to stop him, I guess. I did the central staircase instead, careful to avoid facing through anyone. The scene transitioned and the set shifted. You tell stories like this? But nothing's changed. Wasn't this the same place as before? Place requires some suspension of disbelief. Like here, we're supposed to be back inside a house. You can see over there the technicians moving some of the furniture on set. Oh, so it's up to your imagination then, I suppose. And is this what gives humans a joy, these play things? Huh, yeah, well, if you're a good enough actor, then perhaps. On cue, my character ran in, opening the door in an overdramatic, frantic fashion. Father, you will not believe what just happened. Oh, brother. Memento pointed gleefully. That's you. Yes, sure is. So tell me more. About plays. All these theatrics and stuff. Oh, you must have been so happy, yes? Well, I suppose. Happy? Was I happy here? I glanced at my character who was telling the story of his chance encounter with the star. The delivery, the enunciation, the stuttering. God, how did I even get this part? But I looked into my own eyes. There was passion, there was excitement. This must have been the first showing. I remembered staying up all night, butterflies fluttering like crazy, the nerves and anxiety, and then finally going on stage to perform. Poor kid, he has no idea. No idea what comes next? Look at him, so full of aspiration, so full of dreams. I wanted to be a star on Broadway, to show the world my talent and my passion. Perhaps it was doomed from the start. How do you mean? This kid had a dream, Memento, something he clung to harder than anyone else. Something that drove him to walk forward every day. Amid all the shit in school, amid the pain of other circumstances. And is that what a joy is? A dream? It could be. And what happens if that dream is impossible? I bit my lip and looked downwards. Now that's a real problem, isn't it? But you look so happy. Because I was a dumb kid who thought I couldn't make it. I grew up on Julie Andrews and Fred Astaire. It's kind of sad looking at it. But you are happy here, yes? So how could that be sad? It's a crapshoot, Memento. A game of luck that was never in the cards for me. No money to be made in it, as my father was so kind to point out. So what did you pursue instead? It was something he insisted was a safer bet. Maybe he was right. The play continued. Being incorporeal did have its benefits since I didn't get tired from standing around. While I moaned every time I had a line, Memento's tail wagged uncontrollably. Just a cute little puppy dog, huh? Who would have thought? Still, at least someone enjoyed my acting. It was a simple story. The performance spanning an hour and a half tops. a story about romance that was never meant to be. Memento seemed most interested by the star. He kept asking questions about her, like, why is she so reluctant to love the boy back, or why does the boy love her so much in the first place? At one point, he even took to the stage of running around as an intense scene played out between the star and my character's father. I reflexively yelled at him to get down, but I then remembered that we were merely reliving a memory. It took me a moment to figure out what he was doing. Memento stood by the star as he argued with the father. He mimicked her affectations, and tried mouthing her lines. There was a moment when the star paused. She had stumbled over a line. For a second, the theater was still. Even Memento had his eyes trained heavily on her. The people engaged the audience. The mounting pressure of that singular moment, though it was merely a memory, I felt my heart stop, just as it did all those years ago. She stumbled again, but they were not mistakes. She was doing it on purpose. In the original script, there was no stumbling, but here she took her mistake and rolled with it. Her voice became coarse as she stuttered in response to the father's angered tone. God, she was amazing. Memento hopped off after this and sidled over beside me. Much harder than it looks, yeah? And you have to be in front of a whole crowd. Not sure if I could do that. I'm only ever seen by one person at a time. But that girl, the star, she was wonderful. Yeah, she sure is. I stared at the star wistfully to hear her voice again after so long. Maury, yeah? You're right there? Yes, fine. Before long, the final scene had arrived. Back at the first set, where the whole play began, the field dimmed and soft blue. My dear, please. There must be another way. The star looked silent and bit her lip. Unlike me, she was so natural, her acting subtle yet effective. She portrayed reticence with a slight glance to the ground, anxiety with the beginnings of a stifled sentence. What was I doing with someone like her? You have taught me many things, my love, but I am a star, and the star must continue its journey across the sky. I know it is painful, my dear, but it is my nature, my purpose for being. It's just how it is. My character collapsed, clawing at his face. Honestly, that quiet acting wasn't nearly as bad as I remember. The star walked forward, but my character grabbed her by the waist. Just one more thing. There was a hush as the characters faced each other. I haven't taught you how to dance yet. The star's eyes flickered, mouth held agape. No, I suppose not. I placed a hand on her wrist. Just one more, if you must go. Like this? My character shook his head. No, like this. Whoa. God, she was wonderful. I remember every step I took was painstakingly choreographed, but for her, it came so effortlessly. She didn't deserve to be stuck with an oaf like me. Memento swayed to and fro with for the music, though his movements were certainly much less refined. The actors trolled, and in response, the wolf trolled as well. I bet 2 months, and he tumbled to the ground. He laughed it off and continued staring at the dance. This was the prize or so, the climax, the part everyone was waiting for. So, what do you think? It was very good. The ending dance. My goodness. Memento swayed back and forth, mimicking the motions. Could you show me? Show you? The moves? He nodded happily. Well, this happened over a decade ago. I don't think I remember the choreography. Memento's ears dropped in disappointment. Did this all answer your question? Well, somewhat. I'm still unsure what you mean by dream. A joy cannot just be that, can it? What about sunset or the smell of a pretty flower? Well, I suppose, but... Oh, or belly rubs? You get belly rubs? Sometimes when I meet a dog lover, they ask me for one last pet. I must admit, they are quite pleasing. I always did want a dog, a nice and fluffy one. They're amazing creatures, so intelligent and affectionate. Like me? Memento said with an innocent look on his face. Well, you certainly got the look down. Alas, wasn't meant to be. Too much work, my dad would say. Too much responsibility. So a loving pal who is by your side, is that a source of joy? Well, yes, I suppose that could be a source of happiness as well. Well, I hope I can suffice in that role for now. Well, you're doing adequately. But back to the whole joy thing. They're, fleeting. I mean, isn't that life? I suppose. But those are different. A pretty flower, a sunset, or belly rubs will gratify you in a moment. And ambition, however, that's a goal for the long term, perhaps your whole life. Some get to achieve it while others, I watched a lot of classical movies during my childhood. Lots of big dancers, singers, and thespians from the 50s and 60s. I remember staring at the screen in awe of what I was witnessing. The colors of the films, the passion in their voices and movements, they were utterly enchanting. That feeling of captivation blossomed inside me. It made me want to do to others. It made me want to do the same to others. To stand on a fancy stage somewhere in the lens of a big camera and to broadcast my talent to all the world. I so desperately wanted that dream. I wanted people to be mesmerized by me. I wanted it so badly. It was my raison d'etre. Not sure how to further answer your question, sorry. No, it's fine. I think you illustrated it quite well, Maury. Well, let's just get this over with soon so I can enjoy eternity. They probably got much better plays up there. No, if I'll get to meet Gene Kelly or someone, I could spend all forever learning from the greats. Well, let's not be hasty now. It's the last time you're ever going to see Earth. I would suggest you appreciate it before you're gone. I was about to respond when Memento's ears perked up. What's that? He faced the stage. The cast had finished doing their bows and were returning backstage. Memento was focused on the girl who played the star. She had dark skin and braided black hair that tumbled down shoulder length. Her name was Stella. If this is my memory, then... I looked close at Stella as she walked off stage. Her eyes lit red. The light caught the glisten of tears. Past me, followed right behind her. What's going on there? Memento leaped onto the stage and followed the two. Hey, wait! The wolf followed Stella and my past self backstage. Now Stella was audibly weeping. Past Maury lay a hand on her shoulder as he turned to face him. Come on, let's go to her quieter. The other castmates saw her concerned glances, but past Maury shielded her from view and led her to the changing room. He didn't show up. Come on, he must have been in the crowd. Did you see your mom? Stella nodded. Mom was there, but he promised me, no matter what happened with Mom, he said he'd see me here. Stella, I just wanted him to be here, like before. The mental sidled up beside past me, looking curiously at the weeping girl. What's happening? Stella knelt down and buried her face in her hands. Why? Why did they have to? I know. I know what you're going through, Stella. But never ever blame yourself. It was their decision. He never did enjoy these plays. I always said it was a waste of time. Maybe he's right. You know what? Your dad's a piece of garbage. Abandoning you like that, crushing your dreams. What kind of parent does that? Leave you to suffer in the wake of their own issues. They're awful. Scum on earth. Forget about them. Still looked soft and stared at my past self, unblinking. I'm sorry, just forget about that. Please, stay strong. You're an amazing actress. You'll do great things. He knelt beside Stella and offered a hug. She nodded, and within a moment we were locked in a tight embrace. Memento's ears perked, his eyes wide with curiosity as he approached the two. A beat slipped by, then past me, let go of Stella and stood back up. I'll be here if you need me. Do you need time alone? Stella nodded. My past self approached the door to rejoin the rest of the cast. Just as his fingers wrapped around the knob, he froze in place. What did you do? Pause of memory. Why? You were leaving. Yeah, and? Memento turned to Stella, who was still kneeling. He approached her, looking intently at her face. What was that? Why was he weeping? I mean, I don't see how much it's much of your business. Memento turned to me, confused. But these are mortal affairs, yes? Well, I guess you're right on that front. So why do you hesitate? There's no reason not to. Still, I feel like a piece of shit for talking about it, even after I'm dead. Why? It's just because I feel guilty regardless, even if it really doesn't matter anymore. Guilty? He looked away from me for a moment, almost as if the word had caught him off guard. Are you familiar with this emotion, Memento? It's when you feel ashamed of how your own actions have affected others, be it lying about something or pushing someone who cared about you away. Memento stared blankly for a few seconds. I see. Interesting. Immediately, as if to veer right away from the subject, he turned to Stella. You embrace this girl. Do you love her? She was a close friend, but no. I would not say I was romantically interested. I'm more into men, actually. Though I never found anyone. No one? Yeah, just how it goes, I guess. So we're taken, while for others it was just the wrong time. Will you have liked someone, a significant other? Someone to whom you deliver a lovely kiss, like you did at the end of the show? Well, it sure would have been nice. And this romance, I have ferried off many who have had romantic connections in their lives. It's the biggest source of grief I had. Could you explain this romance to me? It's a common thread among those I've taken away. Well, you don't need to be with someone to be happy. I knew plenty of people content with being on their own, and for them, that was perfectly fine. But did you want to be with someone? It doesn't really matter where I want it, now does it? I see. I apologize. Memento pushed his snout close to Stella's ear. They were then threw a pair of fuzzy arms around her static body. I hope things turn out well for you, miss. I hope you don't see me too soon. Memento stood back up. Why'd you do that? Because you did it. You did a hug. And so did I. Yeah, but it would not have affected her. This isn't even her. It's just a memory. Yeah. So why? Milton tilted his head and pondered for a moment. Like you said, just because. She just put on such a stunning performance, and now here she is crying backstage. I also wish to understand this. This? Yes, pain, I believe you call it. Not pain of the body, pain of the heart, the soul. There are almost always tears when I weep someone. They're so deeply sad. But then I meet some who are glad for it all to be over. Pains in life, not gone forever, things they never have to deal with anymore. This pain is what I'm speaking of. You want to learn about sorrow? I mean, you're the reaper. You should know all about that. I'm talking about living sorrow, the sorrow of life. I am deaf. If everyone were at least a bit of sorrow. So what was your sorrow? You should know already how I died. Yes, but I wish to understand it. You want me to show you that miserable process I spent the last 4 years dealing with? I don't want to remember it. I don't want to relive that fucking hell. Understand your trepidation. Truly, this is a master's ask. But please, just let me see. You don't have to watch yourself. The wolf classes paws together, begging. Do I want to see it again? Do I want to see it all over? Do I want to see her again? Closer, that's all I want here. Maybe it'll reveal something. Maybe it'll show something different. Fine, just don't expect me to be too enthused. Memento's tail wagged heavily, sending petals fluttering right and left. My deepest thanks, sir. Memento snapped his digits again. The world swirled into a vortex. Going back. When have I made the right choice here? One day I noticed lumps that dotted the back of my neck. Thought nothing of it then. Cysts, perhaps. They go away eventually. They never did. I called my doctor and I was assigned a hematologist. The waiting. God, an endless waiting. It was nothing. I'd be fine. The results returned. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. A rare and aggressive form of blood cancer, treatment resistant, they said. I knew what they really meant. An 80% survival rate for 5 years, though incurable, it was an optimistic statistic. I only lasted 4 years. Interestingly, I felt nothing. When the word chronic escaped the doctor's lips, everything became dreamlike. My dreams, my ambitions, my life. As they described my options, all I could think about was my own regrets. I graduated college with a bachelor's in computer science. Though I longed for the stage, reality pulled me to my senses. Maybe if I hadn't been in this position, afflicted by a disease that would addle me for the rest of my life, that would have been the right call. No money to be made, my father would repeat. But after death, that didn't matter. Maybe I could have made something of myself in those short years between them. Computers aren't terrible, but that first year, I had never imagined something so hellish could be experienced by the human mind. It was a void that ate away at you more than the cancer. The tests, the trials, the medication. The first months I spent in chemo. Then came the radiation therapy every day of the week. By the end of each session, I was disgorging heaps of bile into the sink. I was parched, but no matter how much I drank, it never stayed down. And all that for what? I knew what lay ahead a few years down the line. I knew things would never get better. After the relapse, I made the decision to stop treatment. Year 2, things had gotten worse, physically, but my mind, on the other hand, I think I accepted it by that point. One day, there was bleeding under my skin. My platelet count was dangerously low. It would be my first of many emergency room visits for the rest of my short life. It was getting more aggressive. My lymph nodes were so bloated they felt like rocks grafted beneath my skin. The first visit to the emergency room, I thought it would finally be the end. Sadly, they managed to save me and put me back into a stable enough state to rest. They spent in the hospital room were long and arduous. I often think back then about my time with my theater buddies and how everything was so close-knit. But after each play, invariably, some pieces of the group would fade off, away to pursue other interests. Even Stella, who stood by me since third grade, vanished unexpectedly. But one day I saw her again. Apparently she heard about my condition through mutual friends. Unlike me, she was positively radiant, glowing brightly like the star she was. We sat together, reminiscing on days long past. She was doing pretty well for herself, not on Broadway, but apparently doing some commercials on television. She described all the new people she got to meet, all the hope for a bright future laid out before her. She was happy. She had hope. She had a dream that was within her grasp. She talked about wanting to star in a movie and how she'd make sure I got some role in it as well. Thanks for the pity, but I think I'll pass. I don't believe I'd be all that great, I'm afraid. Kinda hard to be a good actor when you're, well, dying. You're pretty fortunate you get to do all these things. I'd hate to bring you down. You're a lucky girl, Stella, more than you could ever know. She gave me a peculiar look. I'm sorry, I think the meds are messing with me. Well, be sure to ask your doctor about that. We lingered for an awkward beat before she spoke again. I'm really sorry, but I need to go. I'll be sure to visit you again soon. She hugged me. It was great catching up with you, Maury. I nodded. Yeah. Such a lucky girl. So fucking lucky. Hospice care came by the third year. At this point, I was a dead man walking. Though I met my deterioration before the coming expiration date, they still treated me nicely. Gained free massages and end-of-life consultation. Not too shabby, I don't think. My new home was a dedicated building off the side, where I spent my final days. It was already sorted out. It was all already sorted out by then. Once I kicked the bucket, the funeral service would be on the scene immediately. All my ashes would go to my father, what little I had anyways. My fate was written, and all I could do was sit around and wait for the sand to run out. But by then, I loathed myself for that damn computer science degree. 4 years of study, and for what? Some soulless programming job I couldn't care less about? A few years of boring but financially stable work? It was tolerable. Couldn't complain if it meant I'd be supporting myself. Even knowing now how it all turned out, the move I made was likely the safest option. Like Dad said, for a person like me, going into the arts would have been financial suicide. Some kid who enjoyed community theater, aiming for a chance at stardom off Broadway, I barely got into a 75% acceptance rate university. Juilliard certainly wouldn't have given me a passing glance. Yet at this point, what did it matter? I only had a scant few years of life, of real adult life, and they were all wasted on something I cared nothing for. Perhaps I could have at least withered away with the satisfaction of knowing I tried and failed, as opposed to never having tried at all. Stella visited once more. It was winter and the window was glazed with frost. Stella was adorned with a gaudy sweater, colored a lurid yellow. There was a spark in her eyes, a grin of excitement. Something huge had happened. You seem happy. I got it. I got the part. Oh, did you now? Her voice rang out like a tropical bird. My agent managed to sue my way into a pretty big movie, Maury. Her eyes beamed with joy. I swear she burst from the excitement. I forced a smile, nodding along as she explained just how proud she was of herself. So proud. So happy with her future. We did it, Murray. We did it. We? My smile broke. We did it? Stella, I know I'm dying, but come on, you don't need to bullshit me. Her expression froze and she chuckled nervously. Well, is that what you came here to tell me? About the exciting new life you get to live? I just thought that would make you happy. Yeah, that makes me feel amazing, alright. I'm sorry, did I? No, you're fine. Everything's fine. You know, except for my number of days, everything's fine. Molly, I thought it would help. Help? You thought it would help? I sat straight up and stared her directly in the eyes. I don't need your help, Stella. I don't want it. You have to understand there's nothing you or anyone can do to make any of this okay. It's pointless. It's bullshit. Why the fuck do you even bother with me? Are you unable to grasp the fact? Maybe I don't want to be reminded of what I could be doing. Maury, that's not. Look at me. I tore my hospital gown away, revealing my deceased skin, blotched black and blue from internal bleeding. The bumps won't get any smaller. My hair bleached white after the treatment. Look at me, and tell me this is okay. I just want dignity. I just want to go with dignity. I'm part of it day in and day out. Baby every day, trapped in this godforsaken hole of misery. Maury, stop, please. I know you're going through so much. I want to be there for you. I want to help you. I understand your pain. You understand? How could you possibly understand any of this? You're on your way to a glamorous, successful, fulfilling life. And I'm on my way to an early grave. By now, Stella's eyes were red. A glistening bead of a tear rolled down her cheek. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for all this, Maury. But please, don't take it out on me. Let me tell you something. Do I feel satisfied? Maybe a bit. Like some justice had been earned. It was the most pathetic thing you could imagine. I pushed her away. I made sure of that, and then I knew I served the last person who cared even a little away for good. I was well, and truly. What time is it anymore? How long will it be until it's done? I had no sense of when anything was. I would wake up each night confused and scared. I would barely recognize the faces of the nurses. The end had arrived. My body was finally giving in. I had no interest in the games, no interest in the massages. The only thing I wanted to do was simply lay there, staring up at the ceiling with eyes half closed and mouth slightly agape. The pain had gotten unbearable, and I spent most of the day addled by agony that the medication only slightly subdued. One night, the night before I died, I dreamt about Mom and Dad again. They were actually together, smiling. It was lovely. Dad had made a smoked brisket sandwich glazed with barbecue sauce. Even then, in my dying stupor, I could remember the tingling sensation of its sweetness on my tongue. Mom would laugh alongside him. We even invited Stella over some games. There was no particular passage of time, no real linearity to it all. One moment I was there with them, then I was middle-aged, nice and wealthy with several children and a loving husband. My parents were now elderly, so I took them on a nice tour of Europe. The way they looked so happy together as they stared at the Eiffel Tower, it felt real. There was another dream, one where I was still an infant, barely coherent with language. I saw my parents at finger painting. They laughed, very proud of their son's incoherent splattering of colors on a canvas. It was intended to depict a dog, the one I always wanted. A dog, yeah, a nice big dog. I remember begging for one when I was 5, but my dad strictly forbade it. Too much work, he said, too much responsibility. I wanted him to be cool, big and strong, but affectionate. Someone who'd protect me and sit by my side during rainy days. Someone I could hug, feel their warmth, and let the woes of life wash away in their embrace. Someone who would never. That's how it went then? You saw it yourself. Humans do often tell me of their suffering at the hands of illness. Does that disturb you? It's nature. This may sound disrespectful, but I truly have seen it all. I did not witness your unfortunate demise just to experience human suffering. I understand that it exists. I understand more than you could ever know. But I must ask, why? What do you mean? Like, why would you live in the first place if it all ends the same with you? No, as selfless as it may sound, I wonder why I must exist. I was placed into this world as a means of taking you beyond, to take you to your final resting place. Beyond the instinct that is engraved into the very fiber of my being, I cannot understand the purpose of it. Things must change. Things must end. That I truly understand and exist to perform. But the suffering, the sheer suffering, knowing I'm around the corner, then why are you so chipper? Chipper? Yes, you're nothing like I would have imagined. I was never sure there was an afterlife, much less a canine cycle pump who guide me there. You've seen thousands upon thousands of years of death and decay. You said it yourself. You've taken children, mothers, and families. Those stricken with disease or those taken by a freak twist of fate. You really have seen it all, haven't you? So why do you care so much, Memento? Why do you care so much about our fleeting little lives if they really are so transient? I didn't always. So far, we learned about Maury's past life. He always wanted to be an actor and perform on stage. He did that during his years in college, but he never got to do that as a career, so he had to settle for a computer science degree. And he plays Stella, who's the actor, kind of like his partner, his co-actor on the stage, with how well she acted and how well she moved. And about Memento, he really wants to see how life is for humans, because I don't think he fully has emotions like a human. I mean, so far he seems to be nice, besides that part where he got a little pissed off with Maury when he thought he could get away from Memento. That's when Memento had to tell Maury that he can't get away from him. But anyway, besides that, he's been nicer than I would have expected the Grim Reaper to be. However, I don't think he completely understands human emotions. I think he's kind of devoid of some emotions or empathy, I think. And he said that nobody showed up for his funeral, though if he didn't go on such a rant with Stella about him dying, she probably would have shown up at the funeral. But I guess that rant he made of her, I guess that rant he did towards her made her upset to the extent that she decided not to go to the funeral. I don't know if it was because she was mad at him or if she felt that he might die. I don't know. But anyway, he certainly drove Stella away from him when she was just there to be supportive of him. That's all. She wasn't there to be all dismissive, just be harmful to him. She just wanted to be there and be with him in his final days. I understand that Maury went on that rant towards her because he never got to do the things he wanted to do. He's about to die. And that he feels empty knowing that he never got to achieve his goals, and that none of the companies or theaters will accept him, I think. But he never really got to live out his dream as an actor, and he had to settle for a computer science degree. And I understand that. I don't understand, but when you're so close to death, depending on how your life went, you can feel either content or sad or guilty. With Maury, he feels sad and guilty. because he never got to fulfill his dreams, and guilty because he pushed Stella away from him when she was just trying to be supportive of him in his final days being alive. He just went off on a rant and wondered why she was even there talking to him. And he got really mad that she got a big movie role and that she gets to live a successful life while he didn't get to enjoy a successful life. He's about to die. And I think he was shown an alternative life where he was successful. He was married to a man and had kids of his own. He was middle-aged, and he took his elderly parents around the world for vacation. So, and that he was a successful actor. So that was the alternative life for him, what it could have been. But instead was not to be. So that's it for now. We'll finish off before you depart next time. All the information for the game is in the description box below. Thank you all very much for watching. Bye.